So thank you so much for coming and doing this interview with us with V²M magazine.
Yes, ma'am.
Usually what we start off with is asking you to tell us your name, the branch of service you were in, how long you were in, and what made you join the branch that you did.
Okay. My name is Russell Jackson. I was in the United States Air Force. I served for 9 years. I got out just before my halfway point, which I still wrestle with a little bit here and there. During my time in the Air Force, I had two positions. I served as a logistician, which was basically an airfield cargo controller. Cargo personnel, anything in and out of an Air Force base that needed to be on an airplane, we could we could load plan, load on the plane, secure it, and send it off, and as well as receive it. I did that for my first few years. Deployed twice, and then cross-trained into multimedia journalism, which was probably more commonly known as like a combat camera role, but a role where I was able to learn some storytelling and do some Air Force storytelling, which was a whole lot of fun. A whole lot of fun.
Sure. What age were you when you joined the Air Force?
I was 25 when I went in. So I went in late. I definitely went in late. I didn't know what I wanted to do growing up. I definitely, I tried a college route for a little bit. I tried to figure out some things out on my own for a little bit. I got lost. And then I found myself through joining the military as an old man, which is what I got a lot of grief for, being 25 in a basic training bay full of 18-year-olds.
Right.
But I started at 25 and got out when I was 34.
Okay. And what made you choose the Air Force?
Family made me choose the Air Force. My old man was an Air Force captain, and he flew B-52s.
Wow.
Both my grandfathers were officers. I had one of my grandparents he was an intelligence officer, and then I had another pilot who was a major. And so it was just always been in my lineage. That was always the service. There was no Army talk. There was no Coast Guard talk.
Right.
It was just, if this is the direction, the military is the direction that you want to go, then the only thing we're talking about is the boys in the air.
Right. Right. That's awesome. So, of the different places that you served at and were at, what was one of your favorite places?
Great question. I had the privilege of serving in some pretty cool spots. You'll run into I ran into a lot of guys that were just stuck in like one spot for their whole career. I was stationed for 3 years in Yokota Air Base in Japan, which is just outside of Tokyo, which is going to take the cake here. I was also stationed at McCord Air Base, which is just outside of Seattle, Washington, which is gorgeous, and loved being out there. And then I was sent to the beautiful beaches of Panama City at Tyndall Air Force Base. So I had some pretty cool assignments, but without a doubt, being stationed in Tokyo, Japan was unbelievable. Being able to spend 3 years immersed in another culture while also serving my country was an unbelievable experience. Being able to work together with a different country and being an ambassador, as well as just focusing on what I needed to do was a tremendous amount of fun. And I was able to learn a lot about myself because I was totally outside your comfort zone, right? There's you can get mom on the phone maybe, but she's 13 hours behind me, right? So, I mean, this is a whole lot of learning how to do life on your own out here and depending on yourself. And it was a fantastic experience. And I can tell you more about sushi now than I ever would have had I not gone.
Do you know how to make sushi now?
Absolutely. Oh yeah. We roll it at home. Absolutely. If we can get the fish that we like, we're absolutely rolling it at home. Without a doubt. It's too expensive.
All right.
Too expensive now. You gotta.
Right. That's awesome. So you said you were deployed twice, and that you were also got to be behind the camera.
Yes, ma'am.
And doing that. Tell me a little bit about what that was like being behind the camera. I assume those were on those deployments.
Well,
were they?
They weren't. So they weren't actually.
Okay.
So my two deployments were as an airfield controller.
Okay.
And so I was very operational with an airfield on both my deployments. To answer your question about being behind the camera, was such an addictive and fun job to discover that you could. Every day was so wildly different because I would just attach with you and see what are you doing today? You guys are you guys are wrapping up cargo to send with a unit that's deploying and for a humanitarian reason. Man, that's awesome. Let's talk about it. What are you guys doing today? You are jumping out of a plane to get ready to train how to jump out of planes.
Right.
That's awesome. Let's talk about it.
Right.
And so all my days became so vastly different, learning what every little different piece of this team does for the whole piece of the pie. You know, it's there were trying to idolize guys that were sitting in a kitchen bored out of their minds because all they did was make sandwiches all day and put them in boxes and send off to air crews, trying to validate why their work is so important so that those air crews can then sit on a jet for 17 hours on a bombing run where they're not going to be able to get off the plane and they're going to need a sandwich at some point. Illustrates that it's everybody's tiny piece is so invaluable, and you don't get a chance outside of your own weeds to see that. And what the storytelling allowed me to do was see the Air Force from, no pun intended, but a different altitude, right?
Right.
And it was super cool to really immerse myself in different people's lives that all made up this one service.
Sure. So if you're immersing yourself, did you jump when they jumped?
Oh, no way, man. Let those guys go.
Right.
Although I'll tell you what I did. I would harness up and I would lock myself to the floor. Basically, I wasn't jump trained, so I didn't get to shoot.
Right.
Everybody else got to shoot, and I would just take the camera and like really damn near run to the edge of the plane because what a rush to be. I definitely, absolutely had more times than I can count the opportunities to sit at the edge of a C-130 or C-17 with the doors open, the ramps open in the back, with my feet dangling over the edge, watching dudes jump, watching cargo ship while I'm just click-clacking away. And then you just sit there and taking the horizon. It's an unbelievable experience.
I bet for sure. So you said you were in the service how many years?
9 years.
9 years.
9 years active. Yes, ma'am.
So what did you do after you got out?
After I left the service, I transitioned into my civilian life working for an HVAC mechanical contractor local in the area, and really tried to utilize a lot of the skills that I built and learned in the military and the Air Force to try to incorporate into my everyday marketing and business life. And so now that I'm I'm more of in a marketing storytelling role in the civilian world, it's vastly different. But the idea is still the same of trying to say, whether regardless of what you do for this team, what do you do for this team, and how does everything kind of come together for something to work efficiently, and being able to storytell and talk about the different aspects of my company is a whole lot of fun. My days are still different. The people I talk to are always different, and I'm always storytelling in a way that I take lessons from what I learned in the Air Force.
So I know families don't get issued in your bags, and when you're in the military. Tell me how you met your wife and how that all came about.
So long, really long distance, longtime friends, where just, it was hard to stay in one spot ever at a given time. So, there was lots of chit chat. There was some social media chit chat back and forth. And then really got kind of lucky. I just had an opportunity where we were both in the same place at the same time, and did a reach out to where, we were able to kind of reconnect. And then, by the end of it, we were able to really kind of, by the grace of some real patience has paid off. And now I can focus on being home. Being out of the service has given me an opportunity to really focus on being home with my family, which is one of the reasons that I made the choice to leave when I did. Being home with her, being home with my children is very, very, very important to me. And I wanted to be a dad first, a family man first. And that's something that I don't regret doing, even though I was on a roll while I was in, and I hated leaving. I hated leaving when I did, but I don't regret it because I have a softball game tonight and I'm not going to miss it.
Awesome. That's awesome. So we appreciate V²M. You've actually shared with us photographs. We've been able to use stories that you're sharing. Tell me why you want to continue to do that.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about you guys that I like, man. I'm not part of any of these things yet, and I'm trying to get involved. I think I'm interested in getting more and more involved with I don't know, the veteran community that's out here and doesn't know what to do out here necessarily. And it's we get out, you get out of the military, and then what do you do next? And it's not like the military should be seen as a box, but it should be seen as like a foundation and a springboard to like what is next. And we should all be very proud of what we've done in our time, in our little lanes that we served in, and being able to kind of talk about it is fun. My kids have no idea what I did, and I have no real reason to talk about it. And it's having suddenly an outlet is kind of important. And they're always talking about outlets for this or outlets for that, and mental health, and that's truly valuable. But just even the idea of just being able to talk about your own life and your own history, you get to a point in your life where the people that are important to you maybe weren't part of that history. But if you're not telling it and sharing it, then away it goes. And this has been a cool opportunity for me to kind of relive some of the history that I lived, where I got to do some cool storytelling and see some cool things and meet some great guys and some true warriors, and learn what they do to push the needle forward and keep the edge of the spear sharp. And it was such an awesome opportunity to see some of the things that I've seen, and to be able to talk about that a little bit, and maybe share some stories that could help somebody idolize something or learn something has got to have some kind of intrinsic value in itself. And if I can say something that someone will take something from and move a positive step forward, then I should be talking.
Sure. Yeah. So going that direction, what would you say to someone who was going into the service at this time in the military and in America? What would you say?
If I was to give somebody advice on going into the service right now, the idea of keeping your head down and being focused and doing kind of what needs to be done the right way. What they're looking for are airmen, are Marines, are men and women that can do their job the way that they need you to do your job. And so putting aside emotion, putting aside perspective, putting aside background, and focusing on mission and purpose and teamwork will transcend any background issue you might have had with someone prior to that. And if you can show me that you can fold your socks exactly like I asked you, then now I can trust you to fold my parachute, and I need that done right.
Right.
So by doing what you are instructed to do the way you're instructed to do it, and showing and proving proficiency, will excel you past so many other people that want to just stomp their feet for one reason or another. Right. Read the directions, do them. You'll rise to the top faster than you think.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great advice. So now, what kind of advice would you give to someone coming out of the service? They've been in, and now they're coming out. What would you say to them?
Coming out of the service, I would say try to find something that allows you to continue serving in some capacity that is valuable to who you are. Find a reason to continue to serve. Find your purpose. In the military, you're so focused on the purpose that they give you and the mission that they give you, and you're so driven by that. When we get out, it's easy to just kind of flutter away in the wind, and to feel purposeless is what I think drives a lot of the mental distress that we see in veterans. And so I think that trying to find an American Legion, a veteran group, or just something that drives you with a passion like you have to have while you're serving has value beyond what I can put into words.
Sure, absolutely. So, wrapping this interview up, is there anything else that you would like to share or say that you want to make sure people know?
you know, what an awesome opportunity to serve. What an awesome opportunity to serve. I mean, if you're interested in going in, God, go in and just spend 4, 6, 10 years of your life just learning about the world, learning about yourself, learning about people, learning about cultures. Like, it's just what an awesome adventure that was to be on. And now on the other side of that coin, to be a veteran and to really be focused on trying to carry values and lessons that I learned in the Air Force to provide me success in the civilian world with family and businesses is an ever changing challenge. And so there's a lot to be said for it, but I think that this has been a great experience, and you know, one I encourage anybody who's interested in to pursue in their own avenue.
Yeah. I have to say, you must really enjoy being able to grow out that beard.
Oh man, that's what I see a lot of guys had done it, and a lot of guys were talking about doing it. So I was like, oh, I'll give it a shake. I'll grow out my "you got out of the military" beard. But man, I was definitely one of those ones where it was just like, it came out and I was like, well, that's not going anywhere anytime soon. And now it's the only way my children know me. My daughter says no, it can't be shaven.
Right.
I don't think my youngest has never seen my cheekbones.
Wow.
And so there's just no way. And there's no way they were going to let me do it. So,
That's right.
I traded the Air Force for a beard.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
We
Absolutely,
appreciate
guys.
it. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.